I said nobody cares, jump now, and I did. I said to myself, what have I just done? I don't want to die. God, please save me. And then I hit the water.
I'm punching this thing, but it won't go away. And it just circles faster and faster, faster and faster. And no longer am I wading in the water to stay afloat.
This man jumped off the Golden State Bridge because he wanted to self-delete himself to end his life, but God miraculously saved him with something that you would have never ever thought. So let's get right into it, guys.
I got onto a bus. I sat in the very back row in the middle seat looking out upon what ended up being 100 people on that bus. And I began to cry softly, moderately, and then waterfalls flowing from my eyes, mucus dripping from my nose, and then I began to scream aloud on a crowded bus filled with people at the voices I was hearing in my head. Leave me alone. But I don't want to die. Why do you hate me so much? What did I ever do to you? At the top of my lungs. The bus got to the Golden Gate Bridge parking lot. Everybody deboards right there. And I sat there crying, hoping the driver would see me and see my pain. Instead, he stands, turns, looks at me and says, come on, kid, get off the bus. I gotta go. I walked up to that man. I looked him right in his eyes as water flowed from mine, and he just motioned for me to get off the bus. I walked across the 2-mile stretch of roadway that is the Golden Gate Bridge walkway, pacing.
Guys, you never know what people are going through. And what a reminder for us to stop and take a moment to speak into someone's life, because we do not know what people are going through. We honestly don't. Every moment can be an opportunity to make a difference in people's lives. Remember that.
Back and forth for 40 minutes crying like a baby. Bikers, joggers, tourists, runners, police officers went by me twice. At that moment, I said to myself, absolutely no one cares, which was a complete and total lie. Everybody cared. Every member of my family, every one of my friends, my acquaintances would have been there to rip me from that rail to safety had they known where I was and what I was doing. My brain wasn't allowing me to care. My brain was trying to kill me as I tried to stay alive.
Yeah, that's what's so scary. That's why I totally think a lot of that is all demonic. Demonic influence trying to get you to end your life. That's why I'd say when Muhammad wanted to jump off this cliff because of these spirits that were visiting him, what makes you think that was a good being? No angel made you want to end your life. Besides, if it's demonic, yeah, that's happening all the time.
Really clinging to life. I said nobody cares. Jump now, and I did.
Wow.
The millisecond my hands left the rail and my legs cleared it, I had an instantaneous regret for my actions.
Yikes.
And as I fell, the absolute recognition that I had just made the greatest mistake of my life and it was too late. I fell nearly 250 feet, 25 stories, closing in on 80 miles per hour, nearing the speed of terminal velocity in 4 seconds. In those 4 seconds, I said to myself, what have I just done? I don't want to die. God, please save me. And then I hit the water.
Wow.
Hitting the water from that height at that speed is like hitting a solid brick wall. Your body stops for less than a second, then a vacuum sucks you under 70 feet. Upon impact, I shattered 3 vertebrae, my T12, L1, and L2, and I missed severing my spinal cord by 2 millimeters. I went down 70 feet, I opened my eyes, and I was drowning. There I was, in that water, tumultuously flipping back and forth, not knowing which way was up or down. I began to swim in any direction. I could not feel my legs. They were working. I go down, down, down. The water gets darker and murkier. My eyes bulge. My ears ring. I knew I made a mistake. I shot for what I believed to be the surface.
That is so horrifying. Guys, please, if you're ever thinking something so terrible like this, thinking that that's the way out, people There are people who love you and care for you. Whatever's going on, trust in Jesus. But what saves him here is a miracle, all because of what God had in store.
As fast as my arms would take me, I get closer and closer to this lit circle of water above me, thinking I'm not going to make it. I remember saying to myself, Kevin, you can't die here. You die here, no one's going to know you didn't want to. A woman driving by in a red car saw me go over the rail at the moment of my attempt, called her friend from her car phone in the United States Coast Guard, who happened to be manning the waters of the bridge at that very moment. The Coast Guard arrived. These wonderful officers got me onto this flatboard, put me in a neck brace, strapped me in from head to toe, and they started asking questions as I was fully conscious. This was not just another body recovery, which is what they were expecting. They did not expect to find me treading water and alive.
Wow.
99% of the people who have leapt off the Golden Gate Bridge never again get to share their stories. They're gone forever. In hospital, after my attempt, I would initially be in a bracing structure. I would have to have a 10.5-hour back surgery to replace my shattered vertebrae with titanium.
That's insane. 99% of the people who have done that have never survived. That's crazy. What a miraculous sign of God's power. He saved him. I want to go to another interview where he talks about how he was found.
I was in a world of pain. I was on so much morphine to mitigate the pain, having so many hallucinations in the hospital, seeing giant metallic spiders crawl across the ceiling trying to eat me, seeing dragons fly in my room. It was absolutely wild. But as I healed up, you know, my mom came to see me and said, I guess God wanted you to win that Oscar. I'm like, Mom, I just did high school and college theater, calm down. My dad came in and he was crying, and I'd never seen the man cry in 19 years of my life. I didn't know he had tear ducts, such a tough, old sunset Irishman, you know? And he was like the toughest guy I knew, and here he is bawling like a baby, and he goes, Kevin, I'm sorry. I said, no, Dad, I'm sorry.
Wow.
I'm in that hospital, I'm getting better physically, go to the psych ward, and we go home. A few days go by, and my dad goes, okay, Kev, we're going to church. So we go to the church I grew up in, the church my wife and I would get married in later. How are you? Glad you came today. How would you like to come and talk to our 7th and 8th grade class about your experience this Good Friday? And that was coming up right around the corner. I was like, oh, Father, I don't have a speech and I wouldn't know what to say. And my dad took his oven mitt-sized hand, shoved me forward, and goes, he'll do it. I was like, what are you doing? He's like, you'll do it when you need closure. And when Pat Hines says things twice, you do it. He's 6'1" and I'm not. Well, I get to the rectory that day on Good Friday, and I walk into the room, and there's 120 7th and 8th grade kids in their Catholic uniforms that I used to wear, cross-legged on the floor, ready to listen intentionally, you know, and they're looking at me, and I'm really thinking like, oh God, what am I doing here? Well, I take the 17-page speech that I wrote, that I typed up, and I begin after an introduction from Father Michael Harriman. And I'm dropping page by page to the floor. It takes 45 minutes to read aloud. I am crying. I'm shaking like a leaf. I'm a mess. It's raw. Father Michael Harriman calls me and says, Kevin, would you come to the rectory? I've got something I want to share with you. And Father Michael Harriman sits me down. I take my asthma inhaler because I can barely breathe. And he says, sit down, and he hands me a manila envelope. And he says, open it. And I open this thick manila envelope, and inside of it is a hand pencil colored drawing of the Sacred Heart of Jesus that one of the kids did. It was beautiful. And inside that was 120 letters from 120 kids.
Wow.
No, I'm no fool. They were mandated to write the letters. 120 kids didn't get together and go, let's all write to this guy simultaneously.
So now I want to go to the part where he shares this a miraculous story of what God used to save this man.
As I'm falling, I said, what have I just done? I don't want to die. God, please save me. Hit the water.
Then you're coming big down.
Then I come up. I'm bobbing up and down in the water, and I cannot stay afloat.
How cold is the water? What's the temperature?
Hypothermic water. If
60, 40?
I don't know. I know that if you're in that water past 15 minutes, you're gonna die.
My mother committed in the water, and
Yes.
it was about 8 minutes before you.
Oh my goodness. I did not know that about Glenn Beck.
Oh, 8 minutes. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it wasn't the same water. She was a little farther up north.
Okay. So this was in under the Golden Gate Bridge. If you're in there 15 minutes or more, you're not gonna live. Yeah.
So
At that time of the year, it was
right.
September 2000.
And you can't move your legs. You can't feel your legs.
Can't feel my legs.
Can't feel your legs.
And so I'm bobbing down. I'm swallowing salt water. I'm spitting it out. I'm coming up, going down, spitting it out. But then I go down and I can't continue to come back up.
Mm-hmm.
I'm getting really tired. I'm having a violent asthma attack. I've had exercise-induced asthma since kindergarten. So I can't. I keep going down further. And something happens. Something begins to circle beneath me. Something large and very slimy and very, very alive. I remember thinking to myself, you gotta be kidding me. I didn't die off the Golden Gate Bridge and a shark is going to eat me. I took my right arm, which was wrenched, like moving it past here was really painful. And I'm just going like this, like, no, don't eat me, please don't bite me. But it's not, a shark's hide is tough and like sandpaper. So I didn't know that what I was hitting was very slippery, so it clearly wasn't a shark, but I had no idea. So I'm freaking out and I'm punching this thing, but it won't go away. And it just circles faster and faster, faster and faster. And no longer am I wading in the water to stay afloat. I'm lying atop it on my back, being kept afloat by this creature.
Wow.
Thinking to myself, this is one hell of a nice shark. And right then and there, I named him Herbert. And Herbert is right here. This is Herbert.
And he was a sea lion.
He was a sea lion. And I know he was a sea lion because a man named Morgan McWard, who had seen me on TV, had wrote into ABC, and he wrote in, he said, Kevin, I'm so very glad you're alive. I was standing less than 2 feet away from you when you jumped. It's haunted me until this day because no one would tell me whether you lived or died. By the way, Kevin, there was no shark like you mentioned on the show, but there was a sea lion, and the people above looking down believed it to be keeping your body afloat until the Coast Guard boat arrived behind you.
No way.
I call that a miracle.
That is crazy. What a story. God is in the business of performing miracles, guys. I encourage you to keep on trusting in him. He's going to make a way. He's going to wants to save you. He wants to set you free from your addictions, from your pain and your suffering, guys. I encourage you to go to him today. Know that he loves you. He's longing to have a relationship with you. Put him first. It will be the best decision you could ever make. Keep on trusting Jesus. If you're going through anything difficult, I encourage you. Just know that you're loved by God and he has an amazing plan for your life. Anyway, guys, love and appreciate you all. Have an amazing day and God bless.